The West has a big opportunity to further isolate Moscow by taking an ally out of the hands of Vladimir Putin. Any discussion of the response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine in the West has so far focused primarily on sanctions. The impact of these has, however, been brought into question given the number of countries that have chosen not to impose such measures and because of questions over who suffers most as a result of the sanctions: the Russian regime, the Russian people, or, indeed, citizens of the countries which impose sanctions in the first place. The discussion, then, is slowly turning towards how to isolate Moscow from the allies on which it relies for funds, intelligence and military aid. Now, Rosa Maria Paya, the head of a citizens' initiative, has urged the West to take action against Cuba in order to help take it from the hand of the Putin regime. Shortly after the Kremlin's threat was issued, the Russian Speaker of the State Duma visited Cuba and thanked the island for supporting its decision on the Donetsk and Luhansk regions. He even described Cuba as a freedom-loving nation, despite growing evidence of its continued and brutal repression of liberty. As tensions heat up between Russia and the West over Ukraine, Ms. Paya said the positioning of Cuba, less than 100 miles from the US, acts as a stark warning of the risk of a second Cuban Missile Crisis. But while the Russian invasion and Western efforts to isolate Putin should, logically, have brought the matter of Cuba to the fore, the Cuba Decide leader noted, "We are not seeing that happen, at least not at the speed that circumstances require." Highlighting the risks of the relatively unquestioned relationship, Ms. Paya said, "That threat about deploying Russian troops is not something news for the Cuban people. Everybody remembers the role Cuba played during the Cold War. I believe what has been taking place in Ukraine is awakening the citizens and the governments in the West to the reality that maybe the world was not as under control as we thought." A key example of this, she added, is related to the Cuban intelligence apparatus, which has played the role of the operator and the gateway of Russia and also China and sometimes Iran in the whole region, and is directed by the Cuban state security that was at one point in history trained by the KGB and has excellent links and communications with the Putin regime. Ms. Paya stressed that choosing now to hold Cuba to account would not only help to support the Cuban people, no bad thing in itself, given the critical situation on the island on almost all fronts, including the economy, sanitation and repression, with hundreds of protesters, children among them, jailed for up to 30 years for demonstrating peacefully, but would come as a blow to Moscow. The campaigner argued Britain is well placed to lead on this front, having left the European Union, which currently has a far too close relationship with the oppressors of the Cuban people. Britain is currently a signee of the EU-Cuba Political Dialogue and Cooperation Agreement, which contains seemingly empty talk on cooperation in the field of the promotion of justice, having been agreed before Brexit was enacted, but could now leave this and take the initiative to send a message about Cuba's actions and its relationship with Russia not going unnoticed.